The DA says its independent task team is now going to ask the private prosecution unit of Afriforum to lead an investigation into the killing of one of its councillors in Umgeni. Nhlalayenza Ndlovu was shot dead in front of his family. In fact, he was shot 10 times in December last year. Barry Bateman is the spokesperson for Afriforum's private prosecution unit. Barry, good evening to you. What kind of investigation are you going to be leading here?
Good afternoon, Stephen. Well, what we're going to be doing, and we've done it already, the first part is Prosecutor Advocate Nhl and members of his team, Chief Investigator Andrew Leask, Advocate Phyllis Foster and Nhlalayenza. They've already been down there and having a look at what evidence has already been gathered. We've tried to engage with the SAPS. Unfortunately, they were reluctant to do so. We will continue to try and meet with them. But we've spoken with the executive of the municipality down there, Mayor Chris Papas. We've spoken to other members of his executive, people who had knowledge in the lead up to this assassination of Mr. Ndlovu. We've gathered that kind of information. We've managed to establish what appears to be a motive for this crime, and we will engage with the SAPS to ensure that this line of investigation is in fact conducted and that we can get to a point where somebody is arrested and a prosecution can proceed.
What are you able to tell us what the motive is or was?
Absolutely, Stephen. What we understand from the various conversations we've had with people down there is that there was the unlawful sale of government land, so not municipal land, but government land to people in the community. Services were then unlawfully provided to people who had moved onto this land. We're talking about electricity. Substations were set up and electricity was distributed. It got to the point that the local municipality had to, in fact, remove transformers from the land, which disrupted the services there. Now, Councillor Ndlovu, he was opposed to the unlawful activity that was taking place, and he took steps to ensure that the unlawful activity was brought to a stop. For example, that some of the transformers were seized, and he was identified and as the person denying this particular community services. So that appears to be the motive, this unlawful conduct that was taking place and his attempts to put an end to it.
I realize, and we obviously all know, that Afriforum has a sort of private prosecution arm, but what kind of capacity do you have to conduct investigations?
Stephen, we have some of the best investigators, arguably, in the country. We have, of course, you know about Prosecutor Nhl is the prosecution side of it. But when he started the private prosecution unit, he brought with him a team. Chief investigator is Andrew Leask. He is the same prosecutor that put Jackie Salebi behind bars. He led that investigation. He brings with him Nhlalayenza, another member of that Jackie Salebi prosecution team. We've got Chris House, who is exceptionally well at looking at financial records and dealing with asset forfeiture and the like. So we come with an incredible pedigree of investigators, people who have been trained. For example, Andrew Leask, he's been trained by Scotland Yard. He's got incredible knowledge of criminal investigation and has been responsible for some of the most high-profile cases in the country. Salebi being one of them. So we certainly do have the capacity, and quite often when you see us doing these watching briefs, which we quite often do, it's assisting the police who quite often don't have the capacity or the expertise to conduct an investigation efficiently and effectively. We assist them in telling them where to look for evidence, which statements to get, which line of questioning to follow, where a particular case would, what you'd have to do to lead a particular case in a direction so that you can end up with a prosecution. So to simply answer it, Stephen, we have incredible capacity to investigate.
So, Barry, I realize we live in a country where even before the pandemic, the ISS has said that the murder detection rate had fallen to 15%. So there are clear problems with the detection capabilities of the police, and I understand that, with the detective capabilities. It still seems to me quite bizarre in a way, and I realize you've been asked to do this by the DA. It wasn't just your decision, but obviously you said yes, that you're investigating this case when really the police should be doing it. I've never heard of a private prosecution for a murder before, so you would have to give any information you got, I presume, to the police anyway?
Well, Stephen, we won't actually be doing the investigation in the manner that you think. We will assist the police in conducting their investigation. We will guide them in the direction that they should, which statements they should be taking, which leads they should be following, and so on. Where necessary, we can assist in the taking of affidavits. We can assist in the analysis of evidence. We can assist in other aspects related to criminal law to guide their investigation. So we're not taking over the role of the SAPS. Of course, the SAPS must. It is their constitutional duty to investigate. But we sit with this difficult situation, Stephen, where trust in the police is at an all-time low. You spoke there about the conviction rate. We know that. It is absolutely pathetic. And it's because we have lost significant expertise and experience within the SAPS and lost them to the likes of our organization because of the poor morale and basically how the SAPS is managed. There's been a complete collapse in the criminal justice system. Our unit is flourishing in that void. So that is why organizations, and I just want to be clear on something, that it's not the DA that's appointed us. The DA appointed an independent task team, and that task team has approached us. So it's in that capacity that we're doing this work and trying to get to the bottom of this case. As I said earlier, we've already identified a motive. There's very clear indications of who the suspect might be, and we're going to guide the SAPS as best we can to follow up all the right leads.
Barry Bateman, thank you, spokesperson for the Private Prosecution Unit of Afriforum.